Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Happy Musician Vlogcast. I'm Candace Lark, harpist, teacher, and coach, and happy musician. And today, my guest is Elizabeth Webb. Elizabeth is a professional harpist. She's a teacher. She's a composer. She's a leader. She's also founder of Harply, which offers marketing education for harpists. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Candace. I'm really excited to share with your viewers.
I'm so happy that you're here because one of the really interesting things about you is that you and your husband have essentially made your home base anywhere you want it to be, and you're literally traveling the country. Tell me how did this happen? How did you come up with it?
Well, that's a great question. So I've been in Houston, Texas for the last 4 years, had a business, Houston Harp Music, where I was performing and teaching. But about last New Year's really is when it happened. We were driving back from seeing family over Christmas and New Year's, and we just started talking about, people wait until they're retired to travel and to do all the things that they wish they could do that they couldn't while they were working. And we started talking about it, and we're like, well, what if we can't? What if we're not medically able? What if we're not financially able? What if we miss the opportunity? Why not make it happen now? What is it that's stopping us? And this was back in December, January, so before the pandemic. And we just started going through it, and we're like, you know what, if we want to do this, we can make it happen. It's only on us of whatever we need to put in place. So we started back in January, downsizing, purging all of our belongings. We had a plan, like maybe in about a year, we'll transition to living in an RV and traveling the country and working online from the road. Then the pandemic happened and it ended up actually speeding up our timeline. So when the lease was up on our house, we're like, let's not renew, let's just do it now. So we sold most everything we had. All my harps, I did not want to sell them. I rented them out, and I bought a Kamek carbon fiber Ulysses harp so that it's very light, it's very durable, it can go with me, it can take the temperatures, it can take the jostling of being in an RV. And so I got this guy for traveling with me, and you know what? With the pandemic, all of my harp students that I thought, oh, they're never going to want to take online lessons, they're old school, they like in person. Well, guess what? Everybody had to go online. Whether you wanted to or not, you just had to embrace it. And so all of those students, they started doing it, and they said, you know what? This isn't so bad. We can actually still learn. There's some upsides even to taking online lessons. And so some of it even worked out. My gigs all got canceled, so I wasn't like I was missing anything. So we're like, well, let's go now. So we have been living full time in a fifth wheel since May. It's now August, so that's what, like 4 months or something, and we are loving it.
Pandemic, right? You've been in almost the entire pandemic. You've been in.
Yeah. We spent the first couple months or so paring down our stuff. We thought we were going to have to wait until the pandemic was over to sell off our things because, you're not supposed to get together with strangers and can't have a yard sale. But then it was like, this thing's not going to end and our lease is going to be up. And so we started listing stuff for sale just on Facebook Marketplace, just like a, by appointment only yard sale. And I'll tell you, right after the stimulus checks hit in August or in April, people started just coming and being like, yep, I want to buy your TV. I want to buy your couch. I want to buy, it was just like everyone felt flush. So it totally worked out. It was paid the down payment on our unit. So yeah.
I mean, it just goes to show you put something out there in the universe and it just is like, all right, here you go. And you're like, I'm not ready. But like you said, you have to embrace it. You just got to go with it and just jump and okay, this is going to work out.
It was meant to be. Sometimes our timing is not God's timing, but his timing is better than ours.
All the time. All the time. Even all the time. But wow. So you're traveling. Technology is amazing. And even now it's wonderful to be a harpist because you don't have to have this massive pedal harp to be an excellent harp coach or teacher. In fact, you don't even need a harp all the time. You can coach from a distance and everything. Technology has just, for everyone, has made us very free in many ways. Maybe not so much.
Absolutely.
in many ways. I think that's, well, I commend you. I admire you. You definitely inspire me because before COVID, this was supposed to be our travel year, but
Mm,
you know, we were like, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go there. We saved up enough money,
yeah.
and then, yeah, that didn't work. So, but we're not going to give up on that. When we're
Okay.
allowed to travel, we're ready.
Mhm.
We're ready to go. But you didn't. You just said we're off. So where are you right now?
Right now, I am in Colorado, kind of the southern part. It's just in the mountains. And the crazy thing is, we're at a campground. We're by the river, the Rio Grande. It's beautiful trees. It's cool. And you'd think like, but you know, how are you going to get your work done from there? Well, we have a mobile internet solution that is made for people in RVs. So wherever we go, as long as there's AT&T signal, we have fast Wi-Fi. So I can do all my video calls. I can do all my recording and post everything that I'm putting online, and it's really amazing from wherever we are.
See, okay. I'm gonna have to take a page out of your book, Elizabeth. It's really awesome. I can't imagine. I like road trips. My husband and I, fortunately, we travel very well together and always have a great time. So we're definitely road buddies. But it's funny. We were just discussing like, yeah, let's take some more road trips. Let's go more else. Let's go here. Let's go. I was like, yeah, let's go because we're not going anywhere. So we must get out of the house. We're forced. It's funny. The more you're inside, the more you think about where can you go, and
Yeah, yeah,
you know. So it's going to
yeah,
be interesting. All the vacation sites and everything once they open.
yeah.
It's going to be slammed. But
Yeah, it's been a little crazy because, you know, in an RV, you have to find places to go park, and some places are still closed. Others are booked solid because people aren't moving. People who are living full time in an RV are just staying put. And so it's been a little bit challenging finding places, but you know what? We've loved everywhere we've been, and it's been awesome. We had just a couple nights ago a campfire right outside, and I took my carbon fiber harp out there, started playing, and just as people were walking their dogs by in the evening, they're stopping, pulling up chairs to sit down, making special requests. And then before I knew it, my husband was pulling out my CDs, and people were like, I want to buy a CD, I want to buy. And I was like, oh, well, we just paid for our stay at this campground. So it's just, it's funny, the spontaneous things. And now this morning, as I was walking my dogs, some people were like, oh, thank you for the music, you know, really enjoyed it. I was like, I didn't even know that you heard it, but it's just fun, the things. Like, I didn't plan a concert. I wasn't trying to earn money here, you know, it just spontaneously happened. And it's so fun. People were telling me, oh, there's rumors spreading around the campground. Someone hears an instrument, we think it might be a lyre or a zither or a keyboard. We're not sure, you know, what is it? So it's just so much fun.
sounds like it. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, talk about spontaneous. It just goes to show you that, you know, your best laid plans, you don't have to have the best laid plans to have
yeah.
time. It's just go with the flow. Just go with it. There you have. You got, not only did you make a lot of people very happy, it probably soothed a lot of people that were, I'm sure there are a lot of people suffering from anxiety and are just concerned about the whole situation. But you're gonna have like a whole, like, you're expanding your national, you know, tribe, so to speak. You've got your CDs and here.
Yeah.
People are gonna know you everywhere. And you're not even trying, and you're just living your life, living your best life. So
That's actually one of the things, you know, my business name has been Houston Harp Music. And I'm like, well, even though we're still technically located out of Houston, that's our mailing address. That's where all my harps are rented out. We're going to be traveling a lot. And so it's like, well, what is my business then? And we came up with Highway Harpist. So that's my new business. My website's not quite ready yet, but it's being worked on. So my business name is now going to be Highway Harpist. And I'm literally going to be just playing wherever we go. I still have my CDs. I'd like to make more at some point. But we're like, once the pandemic is past a little bit, I could do house concerts along the way. There's so much that you can do, just even if I can't necessarily play weddings that get scheduled out months in advance because of the travel.
right.
There's still so much that I can do to share the music, playing in nursing homes and so many things. So that's what's going to be, highwayharpist.com.
Highway, oh my gosh. Okay, so when all of that is done and completed, I will update it on the Vlogcast so that everyone can.
Awesome.
I'm going to leave that up. And Highway Harpist is like perfect. It's so simple. Oh my gosh, I'm like so excited for you. So, and another thing that is going to be awesome is like connecting that whole national tribe thing is people might start knowing you before you get to a place. You're going to arrive. Wow, harpist.
And we were talking about we should put up like a map on the website, where's the highway harpist going to be, and so you can kind of see, and then if I'm going to be traveling past someone's area, they can request to schedule a concert or a workshop. I've been teaching harp for, what am I up to now, 16, 18 years, something like that. Keep losing track because it keeps changing every year, but I've been thinking, like, I've been doing this, I've been teaching harp online for 7 years, so since way before the pandemic, and using Zoom and things. So I had a lot of systems already in place, and it's like, okay, well, how can I help people with this? What can I do? Because one of my big passions, I love playing the harp, I love teaching the harp, but I'm really passionate about, I want to spread the harp. I want more people to get to hear the harp played live, not just on a CD, hear it played live. And I want more people to get to experience learning how to play the harp and just the joy that that brings, and the joy it brings you from playing for other people, and the joy it gives them. It's just like this ripple effect. So the more people that can teach the harp, the more it gets played, and just the joy spreads. And so that's one of my big driving factors. And so I'm always thinking about, well, how can I do that? How can I spread more harp, make it more accessible to people? Not just, oh, that's, in the cartoons and the angels on the clouds, but that's actually something that's real, that you can have played at your event, that you can learn to play yourself. You can rent a harp, you can buy a harp. It's within reach, it's accessible. Yeah. And so a lot of that is through my company Harply that I started in January of 2019. So it's about 1.5 years old now. And I took a lot of what I learned from my husband. He has a background in web development and business consulting and things. And so he's taught me so much about how to run my business, how to market myself, how to do my contracts, how to run my policies, so many different factors. And so I remember the struggle that I had when I was starting out, and just not knowing the first thing about, like,
have that
I need a logo. Like, what is that? Like, just when you just don't know anything, a contract, how do I do that? And so wanting to help other harpists. And so I started Harply to help other people, because I want other performing harpists to be able to market themselves better, get more gigs, to spread more. Because if they're out there playing more people are getting to enjoy live harp music. So that's furthering my goal. And with the other part of it, I want those professional harpists to be able to grow their harp studio, to teach more harpists, to be able to earn more income to sustain themselves, but also to spread that joy, help connect with other people who want to learn the harp, figure out how to get rental harps for them, how to do all these different things, because like I said, it's just that ripple effect. So I'm trying to tie those goals into what I'm doing now, being mobile, in that, again, the pandemic throws a little wrench in this, but we'll get back to it. The goal is, as I travel, I want to be putting on workshops as well. So if I'm traveling through an area where maybe there's a chapter of the American Harp Society or the Folk Harp Society, and we can get together and have a workshop, and I can help them work through some of these things there alive, that'll help them. They'll then take it back to their students and their clients, and it'll just have this ripple effect. So I'm super excited about the opportunity to do that, because I never had the time or the money to travel before. I couldn't go to, I've been to very few harp conferences, because it was always like, I can't afford to skip this gig or not, reschedule these students and plane and now I'm like, oh my goodness, I can do it. Now that all the harp concerts, all the harp workshops are online, but we'll get back to it. So that's kind of the long-term goal. So instead of having just Houston Harp Music, which was my Houston-based business, I'm going to have the Highway Harpist and Harply, and I'll still be able to be going to my goals of spreading the harp, just in a different way.
Well, and that's exactly, you have to be innovative and you have to be flexible if you're going to be musician, especially right now. You don't have a
Oh,
choice.
true.
And
Yep.
you don't have a choice. So, and you're doing that. And if anything, I think, unfortunately we have this awful pandemic, but it's definitely going to catapult you closer to your goal just because you're out there, you're doing it, you have a plan, and it's just okay, it's just going to keep moving. I'm just going to keep moving. I'm
Yep.
doing it, and you're doing it. And
Yep.
noticed already, this is why I have you here, because I was like, Elizabeth is making her mark, and it's just not in one place, it's going to be everywhere. I said I've got to get a hold of her before she gets out of my reach. Get her onto this Vlogcast, and I'm glad I did. And I'm really excited for you, and what you're doing is definitely needed. And I just can't imagine it not going any way but awesome, because like you said, people are just going to have a chance to learn how to work their business better, share the harp more, and you're going to be doing that all over the country, which is pretty impressive. So I'm sure I'll be hearing about you. Oh yeah, she was in California. Yeah, we had her here in Kentucky, and then she was you know, you never know, you might have to go international.
Well, anywhere that I can drive through. We were going to go to Canada this fall, but as of right now, the border's closed. So we really want to go up to Niagara Falls. We're still going to go. We just have to go through the U.S. part of it. But yeah, we can go up to Canada. We can go down to Mexico in our RV. So I mean, yeah.
Well, highway harpist, I hope you do that whole map thing, and like we'll see where you end up. I feel almost like we're like it should be you should do like a Where is Waldo type of thing.
Yeah.
Where is Harp?
Yeah.
Everyone that like if whoever wins and figures it out, they'll you win a free 10-minute consultation or something. You figured out where I was.
love it.
But yeah, I think it's really important right now is to share with people, as particularly musicians, all the things that we couldn't do or we thought we couldn't do are actually within our reach, are actually quite possible. And
yes.
even with all the limitations right now, we just have to change our mindset in the way that we're viewing the situation. And I just feel like this pandemic has really made you, oh, this isn't available. It's like, look, this is possible, and this is how it's going to be. You have no choice but to just, okay, I'm going to do this. Here it is. And, innovation is like my word of the year for 2020. There's lots of other words that I won't say, but innovation is the best one. That's where you have to be, and it's the way that you'll make it through. So you're definitely innovative. I have a couple of questions for you. So in all of this, all of the great work that you're doing with harpists and just traveling, hopefully you have time to read. And are there any particular books that you're reading right now that are just really having a good positive impact?
Well, I'm not reading any traditional books right now, but what I have been reading I've been doing a lot of research because I am in this transition phase. And so I've been, I guess, reading a lot online and just trying to learn more about what are the needs of the people that I'm trying to work with so that I can make sure the resources that I'm creating are helping them. But on the other side of it, I'm a Christian and I read the Bible as well. And I recently, in our tear down of trying to clear out, I literally went through everything we own over the last few months and paring down all the things that, as a woman in my 30s, I've collected a lot over the years. And I found it's a ring with 3x5 cards from when I was in college. I did this project. It was to get out of writing a term paper. They told us you could memorize a book of the Bible if you want and recite it instead of writing a paper. And I was like, all right, I know that's weird. But so I memorized the book of Ephesians and I had handwritten the verses out on these 3x5 cards. And I found this little ring that had all my 3x5 cards in. And I was like, oh, I totally want to try to re-memorize this book. So I've been just reading through those. So I guess if you're asking me if I'm reading a book, I'm reading Ephesians right now, and just thinking through that and kind of reabsorbing everything from that. And it's been very uplifting in the parts of the pandemic that have been discouraging and frustrating, and all the unrest in our country. I guess just turning back to something that's, whatever's true and good and noble and honest and pure. Think about these things. I think that's Philippians, not Ephesians, but it's thinking about, instead of focusing on all the negative, because there's so much negative going on around us, just what can we focus on that's positive? And a lot of the positive things I focus on is harp stuff, because I just feel like it's such a bringer of joy. And so that's what I've been trying to focus on.
Awesome. Well, listen, you can't go wrong, at least in my opinion, you can't go wrong with the Bible, and Book of Ephesians is good. I'm a deacon's daughter, so I totally understand.
I grew up actually on the mission field in Mexico, so my parents were Bible translators. So yeah, a lot of background.
So you totally, now I see why you memorized Ephesians.
Yeah.
This one is always a difficult question. I ask everyone this. This is always the hardest question to answer. But what is your favorite piece or pieces to play, especially while you're traveling? Do you have any? I'll whittle it down to three. Like, what are your top three? Because I know musicians.
Okay, thank you. Since I've been thinking about that one and thinking about it, and I just couldn't get to one. Honestly, there's so many wonderful pieces out there, written for the harp, adapted for the harp. But what it boils down to for me is I get the most joy out of playing things that get the most reaction and the most joy out of my audience. And so as much as you might think it'll be some big harp showpiece, I found that the things that bring me the most joy are the ones that put the biggest smile or cause somebody to cry. One of my favorite ones to play is Rhett Barnwell's arrangement of It Is Well. Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful arrangement. It's playable on the lever harp. Yay! I did lose a lot of my music when I switched to just lever harp, but that's one of the ones that I kept. And it makes people cry every time, and I love that. And then similarly, pop music, people really get excited when they hear you playing something that they recognize. And I found Christina Perri's 1,000 Years is just one that, again, it's just everybody cries, everybody comes up to me afterwards and says, I can't believe you play, I love that song, that was beautiful. So those are the types of things that really get me going, is just the things that get the reaction from people. And I think it's because it goes back to my core goal is just, I want to spread the joy through the harp. And so as much as I love playing, like I love La Source, just the beautiful flowy arpeggios, I love playing that, but I think more I love the ones that get those reactions from people.
Wow. Oh, well, yeah, I can totally understand that. And it makes it more accessible. It doesn't make the harp scene so far away from untouchable, because they're like, oh, you can play that on the harp. What else can be done? And it piques people's interest. It definitely draws.
I actually started something new this summer. We went to Tucson, Arizona, where my mom lives, for 2 months. We were helping her remodel her house, and my brother's wife had a baby. So we were there. And so we went back to our old church that we used to go to when we were living in Tucson. Everyone's wearing masks and everything, of course, but it was just a small, like 15-person church that meets in a food pantry. And they hadn't had any musicians for a while, but they're such a small church Bible study, and so my husband and I were like, well, let's play. And it's like, well, what can we play? Because I always go back to, the old hymns, but a lot of these people, they're patrons who attend the food pantry, they're not churched, they don't know, and I mean, it's just a little place. They don't have a PowerPoint to put up the words. They don't have a hymn book. So we were just like, well, what can we play that people can worship with here? And we're like, well, let's play some stuff that maybe they hear on the radio, some current things. Like, I don't have those arrangements for the harp, you know? So I had to get creative. And my husband plays the djembe, which is an African hand drum. And he's like, oh, the drum and the harp don't go together. And I'm like, yes, they can. We can make it. You know, Candace, you were talking about innovative. And I was like, instead of us always saying, oh, we can't play together, we don't have any music that goes together, I was like, then it's time we make some. So I started getting, I thought, what are some songs that are on the radio that people love that I think are meaningful? And then I started, okay, let me find a piano arrangement of it. Okay, now how can I tweak this and make it work on the harp? Not just on the harp, on the lever harp, you know? Yeah. And so I just started like, let's just do it. And so we arranged a bunch of songs that we could play together with me on this harp, my husband on his hand drum, and then another person who plays a little bit of guitar. But she said she didn't know how to play flats, so I had to transpose everything into sharps. So, I mean, it was just like, you know what? You just make it work. And that was so much fun. And it wasn't, you know, you don't get any money from it. You don't get any fame from it. You don't get it, but it was fun. And those are the things that get me excited, because I'm like, what more can I do to be innovative like that? And then maybe I can take some of what I worked hard on rearranging stuff and put it up for other harpists to play. I put one of them on Sheet Music Plus for other harpists, and just like, how can I help other people who may be wanting to do the same thing, but be in the same boat I was of, but there's no harp music for that, you know? So it's just always about how can I be innovative and break through that barrier. Instead of saying, no, I can't, say, okay, how can I make it happen?
Right, yeah. And we say that to ourselves a lot, more than we realize. We don't mean to, but we do. There's these little unspoken rules that have somehow got laid, and we're just like, but I don't have to follow that rule right now. And if I break it, what's going to happen? Well, nothing's going to happen. Life's just going to get better. So I love that you, your husband, and you did that. You probably made this year.
It was fun.
Talking about that. That's awesome. My last question is, well, one of the last questions is, and what two people have been the most influential to you, and why?
That's another hard. That's just like asking me my favorite piece. That's so hard. All right, I'm trying to narrow it down to my harpists. What harp people have affected me. Obviously, my teachers, the harpists that I studied under, gave me my foundation and my technique and my musicality and everything. But I think being classically trained, sometimes you just feel like you're in a box. And there's this wonderful, rich tradition in the harpist community of we learn and we take on what we've been taught by our teacher, who took on what they were taught from their teacher. You know, you can trace back your harp tree, you know, you can trace it back to Salzedo or Renier or, you know, whoever. And that's exciting and that's wonderful and that's a rich heritage. But I think sometimes we do so much, we stay in our tradition that it's hard to break out and do anything else. And I love and appreciate the harpists that I studied under and the great foundation they gave me. But I think if I have to pick the ones that have been most influential, it's those harpists who have encouraged me to break out of the mold a little bit. Amy Turk, who I've never actually met, but just watching her YouTube videos, buying her arrangements has really helped me say, hey, I can do something different. And if she can do it, I can do it. So she's been very influential to me. And Deborah Henson Conant, kind of along the same lines, very out of the box kind of person. She came to Houston about a year ago, last August 2019, and she stayed at my house for the weekend, and then we put on a workshop and a concert together, and it was so fun meeting her. One of those people that you know, I've been watching her videos for decades, but then suddenly now she's sleeping on your couch, and you're like, oh my God, she's a real person, you know? And just, we had some really good conversations that weekend on talking about innovation and improv and just not being afraid to try and not being afraid to fail. It's okay if you try something and it doesn't work. Then you learned from that and you try something else, or you tweak it and try again. And I think she's her friendship has been really influential in me taking those steps forward, because as a perfectionist, I want to wait until I know everything is just right before I put it public, you know. And even like when I started putting videos on YouTube, it's like, what? I made 3 mistakes in that. I can't post that, you know. And then it's like, no, it's okay. First of all, most people won't notice. And secondly, they don't care. Even like I've started making myself do Facebook Lives. Oh, that's scary, because like what if you just totally blow it?
Right.
Again, it's okay. It's okay. They're not going to look at it and say, wow, you're a bad musician, I'm not hiring you. No, they're going to be amazed that you did it. So just go out there and try and embrace the mistakes, learn from them, and keep going. And I think, yeah, that was a long way to answer your question. Yeah. But those harpists who help you, encourage you to get out of the box, I think have been the biggest influences on me.
Awesome. No, and I totally understand. Yeah. My teacher, who's classically trained, Anne Sullivan, but is amazing. But she, once again, she thinks outside the box. She just has this way of seeing through things and around things.
Yeah.
Her vision, just, you know, every time I'm thinking, well, you know what? She wouldn't say no to that. She would figure it out. Well, I'm going to figure it out too. So, but yeah.
Love it.
Those people are the inspiration. They're the ones that, you know, they're behind you and you're like, hey, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally understand. The last question, which may be a little redundant after everything that you just told me, but is, you know, what is the one thing, or it might be two things that you do to keep happiness in your art? And we kind of got an answer to that, but reiteration doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I think it's an important question that we keep on the front of our minds, whether you're an amateur just starting out as a musician, or if you've been a professional for 50 years. It's, how do I keep this happy? Not just, oh, I got to do this because it's my job, you know, but how do I make sure that it's joy? You know, you got into music for the joy that it creates. And I think a lot of it comes back to making sure that you are playing things that bring you joy and that bring the people around you joy. And yes, maybe, you know, I have to learn this piece because I was hired to play it and I don't like it, but I got to just do it. Okay, yes, you got to do that. But you are the controller of your practice time. If you spend 30 minutes practicing something you don't like, spend another 10, 20 minutes practicing something you love. Make sure, I like to sandwich it. I tell my students, start out with something that makes you happy and end your practice time with something that makes you happy. Even if it's just simple, even if it's improv, just something that brings you joy and helps you remember why it is that you're doing what you're doing. So kind of sandwiching those fun parts, even if you have to practice things that aren't so fun in the middle.
In the middle, I love that, sandwiching. I tell my students something different. I tell them, like, eat the frog first. I'm like, do what you don't like first, but you know what? I think I'm gonna have to reevaluate that, and I have to change to eat the frog to, you know, take a bite, make a sandwich instead. Probably like much better, because usually when I eat the frog, the faces that I get are, what?
If they don't want to sit down and start it, if they know that it's going to be difficult or not fun. And so I'm like, once you get started, sit your butt down on that chair, or, you know, get out your tuning key, because sometimes it's like, oh, well, I have a new string and I don't want to have to tune it up, and they use it as an excuse to not practice. You know, just once you get started, I tell my students, if you think I don't have time to practice today, just say, well, I'm going to practice for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
And I bet once you start practicing, before you know it, 30 minutes will have gone by, even though you thought you were too tired. Right. Because once you start, then you're going. So if you can start with something happy that you're excited to do and that you want to do, it'll be more motivational to get it going. And then once you're in the harp zone, it's easier to work on that hard part.
It's so true. Oh, excellent. Now I see why none of your kids left. I see why your students did. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up, but I just want to say thank you again. It's been so wonderful talking to you and learning about this, getting a little peek into, you know, your kind of new life and everything. And I will be looking out for Highway Harpist. I'm like so excited now, and I will update the information. Just to let everyone know, the vlog will be live and it will stay on the site. And as things update on Elizabeth's side, I will update on my site. So if you can't find her,
Awesome.
I will help you find her. We know where she'll be at. So thank you, Liz, Elizabeth from Harpley Houston Harp, which will soon be Highway Harpist. I'm Candace Lark, the happy musician, and I just want to thank everyone for watching today, and I look forward to hearing all about everyone's happiness later on. Have a great day.